investigators determined that the Palisades fire reported on January 7th was caused by an intentionally set fire near a viewpoint along the Temescal Ridge Trail in Topanga State Park on January 1st. The fire was a holdover fire, meaning it was deeply seated in dense vegetation and roots and continued to burn undetected until catastrophic weather ensued, resulting in the Palisades fire.
So there are the results of the Palisades fire, right? Now, there's been a lot of finger pointing as to why this happened. All this destruction, 6,800 structures, but 12 people who died during these horrific fires. A lot of finger pointing. Well, now the finger is pointed at one man for starting this fire. And today the announcement was made. Let's get the details from the U.S. Attorney.
Today, we are announcing the arrest of 29-year-old Jonathan Rinderknecht for igniting a fire that ultimately burned down the Palisades earlier this year, killing 12 people, destroying more than 6,800 structures, both homes and businesses, and damaging over 1,000 more buildings. The complaint unsealed today charges the defendant with destruction of property by means of fire, a felony that carries a mandatory minimum 5-year federal prison sentence and is punishable by up to 20 years in federal prison. The defendant was arrested yesterday on a federal criminal complaint near his Florida residence, and he's expected to make his initial appearance today in the federal court in Orlando, Florida. The allegations in the affidavit are supported by digital evidence, including the defendant's ChatGPT prompt of a dystopian painting showing in part a burning forest and a crowd fleeing from it. Late last New Year's Eve, Rinderknecht returned to Pacific Palisades after working the evening shift as an Uber driver. 2 of his passengers told law enforcement that he appeared agitated and angry that night. After dropping off a passenger in Pacific Palisades, Rinderknecht parked his car and tried and failed to contact a former friend. He exited the car, walked up a nearby trail, took iPhone videos at a nearby hilltop, and listened to a rap song whose music video including objects being lit on fire. The defendant had listened to this song and watched its music video repeatedly in the days leading up to the Lockman fire. 12 minutes into the new year, environmental sensing platforms indicated that a fire had started. It took the defendant several tries to contact 911 to report the fire. He fled the scene in his car, but turned around after passing fire engines driving in the opposite direction to fight the fire. He is charged with starting a fire on January 1st, which is the fire that burned down the Palisades. It did take a week to reignite, but he is charged with starting the Palisades fire. He started it on January 1st.
All right, there's a little twist here in what we heard today. The fire that he set is on the 1st, and he calls 911, and they come and respond and put it out. But apparently, I didn't know this, they still smolder, and they came back for 2 days checking to make sure that the fire was out. But then, like 5 days later, the fire reignites. So
I smell an appeal.
That's the Achilles heel of the case.
Yeah.
It's not the cleanest case, right?
No,
for arson. In the history of how many arsonists call the fire department?
A lot.
Most of them do. Okay, because they want to see them respond.
Right. And they want to be the hero, you know.
Well, what do you mean they want to be the hero? The hero for reporting.
Yeah.
They prevented a catastrophe.
Okay.
Right. It's
What I don't know is
issue.
if he told them the circumstances of the starting of the fire.
I doubt it.
Yeah, I don't
But we'll not. We may never know. But I'll say this: this is the
But don't
law.
we need to know? Don't we need to know how the fire
It would be good
started?
if we know.
I think he reported
A fire.
a fire.
Right.
And he claimed that he was at a certain location when he observed it, but they were able to dispute that based upon his location, that he wasn't at that location.
But you have to prove that the fire was started on purpose, right? For it to be arson?
Yeah,
Right.
there's strict liability on portions of the chart, but really the intent is clear. He has to have intentionally
Right,
started
so how are they
the fire.
going to prove that it was intentionally set?
Because
and it wasn't an accident.
Lighting a fire is an intentional act. That intentional,
Lighting a match.
Yeah, lighting a match.
Okay.
Now, what happens after that, that is up for analysis, and that's why the punishment for arson, some people go, oh my God, I can't believe arson's a death penalty. This is why. Arson's not, I burnt my girlfriend's clothes in the front yard. Arson can very much be deaths, billions of dollars in damages.
Right. He's not charged with murder, though. 12 people died. He's not charged with murder.
But this
They
was
came
a
and
death
put out the
penalty
fire.
for the 12 people who died as a result of what
He's only facing like 20 years.
Well, likely he
so
did.
far.
But everything
all-
that they've described is circumstantial in nature. There's no
Which-
direct evidence in this case. It's all circumstantial.
Well, it may be. It depends on what he has said to law enforcement when he
Right.
first reported it and what, if anything, he says later. It's the law of unintended consequences. If it can happen, it will, and it's never good.
But the real problem is the fact that they put out the fire, and for 2 days, that ostensibly, that would extinguish his criminal liability for what the fire he caused. The state's unfortunate
Especially given
failure.
the fact that he called 911.
Exactly.
He
the
called-
state failed to make sure that the fire stayed out, which he couldn't control at that time, and it reignited.
What is the...
So they have to prove, they're going to also prove, right, beyond a reasonable doubt, that this fire a week later is his fire.
Right.
As a
But
result of his actions,
logically,
absolutely.
like, what is the
Yeah.
statute of limitations? 2 days for, you start a fire and it's after 2 days you could still be liable for it? A month? A year? Like, what is
Approximate
it?
cost.
If they
Here's the part
continue.
that logically I don't understand. If they're saying it's definitely his fire and they can prove it's his fire, why didn't they put it out?
They
They
did
put it out. They
No,
thought
no,
they
they
had put it
Put it out
out.
twice.
They thought they put it out.
Right.
And they came back
Right.
to check
So
on
how
it
do they
as well.
know
So
that
is-
it's his fire? If they went back, if they knew that there was still a fire burning, they wouldn't have left it there
I
in the
think
first
there's gonna
place.
be all
And
sorts
aren't
of
those the
challenges.
experts, the firefighters?
They're concluding.
I'm confused.
If you're defending this
Firefighters
case,
are
you bring
different
in...
from fire investigators. That's a
Right,
whole
but I
different
think this
situation.
case is going to be won or lost on a battle of the experts. Because I think it's going to be
But to
very,
me,
very difficult to
I'm trying
determine
I'm trying to
the
get to the
origins.
common sense of it because I don't understand anything about fires. Like, if you know that the fire is still smoldering, you're not going to leave it there. How do you not know
Here's
it's
what
still
happened.
smoldering?
Here's what
They're
happened.
saying it was underneath, and they thought it was extinguished.
Yeah.
When it turns out it was, they came back, it was still extinguished. Apparently, somewhere unbeknownst to them, it
Well, then
was.
how do they
But
know
hold on.
that it's the same fire?
How-
From where it originated.
How do you
Past.
Then why
trust-
didn't they put it out if they can, if they can
tried.
track
At
it
some
after?
point, it seems you'd think after they put it out that his criminal liability is
Right.
is done.
But, like,
No, not if it's his fire.
if
He
you
has
can-
to own
But
it.
when does he
Well,
lose the fire? That's what Vinny's
but as
getting
far
at.
as
if you can track where,
responsibility
if you
for these
can after
lives.
the fact track where this fire started, why can't you track when the fire is burning to where it is?
Here's the real problem.
That's what I don't understand.
I don't
The-
understand it either.
The state's criminally
I need a fireman.
negligent.
He went quiet. They went underground and went
All right.
quiet. I think
We've
it's
got
gone. I
4
think it's
men,
gone.
but not one fireman here. All right.